I want to show you a breakdown of a sample launch framework. So this is perfect for launching your group program, maybe a one-on-one program where you enroll twice a year or something like that. So this is kind of like a big event, right? So if you have some sort of signature program that you're running maybe every 3 to 6 months, that is perfect launch strategy for you. If you have a program that you're running a little bit more often, then I would say you can still have a similar approach, but maybe, slightly less email marketing. So my assumption is that you are using email marketing, although I'm going to say straight away that if you aren't using email marketing, that's okay. It's the whole point here is how many touch points do you want to have with these people, right? So really, especially if you are using some sort of funnel that has an event. So this is a special launch framework when there is a free event, maybe a masterclass, a live Zoom call, a 3-day, 5-day challenge, or something that is leading people into enrolling with you into this big program, right? Just for WildFit coaches in my audience, I know WildFit starts with 2 weeks of a low cost, I think that this is, or maybe even free, low cost challenge, right? That is being led by WildFit, and then people decide whether to continue or not, especially with global challenges. So what you could do is you could keep enrolling people, but then the 2 weeks that they're getting WildFit emails and calls and all that, and they're already getting calls with you maybe, in order for those people who are still sitting on the fence and trying, right, you can put them in a special group, like an email list, and you will have their emails, and you can nudge them and do a little bit of an email promotion there, encouraging them to continue with this and showing about, like, talking about you as a coach, and how extra coaching really helps with this, process and things like that. So you then shift your deadline, they kind of like when they have to sign up, by the time when they need to sign up to continue, or whichever way you work. Your business, right? I don't know your business. I'm just sitting here strategizing. So you can take things on board. You don't need to take things literally. You can take things on board and tweak it in the way that will work for you. And sometimes maybe you will not do enough, and sometimes you will do too much, and you will know for the next time. So don't be afraid and just not take any action just because you don't know the way to do it, because the only way to do it is to figure it out as you do it, right? Another thing as well is something really, really important that stood out to me in 2022. This whole approach about one offer, 1 year. So it's not enough for us to, have an offer, let's say a class or group coaching or something that we're launching, try and launch it, and then nobody signed up, and then we got all upset. So if one person signed up, right, the next time you're doing, chances are you already, if you stick to your plan and you do exactly the same thing, next time there will be 2 people. That's your doubling your results, right? So if you continue doing what you're doing within a year, whatever offer you have, you will then, by the end of the year, first of all, you will see how it's working. If nobody's signing up for 3 months and like not a single person signed up still, then you need to go back to the drawing board, maybe messaging, maybe have a look at, how you're presenting it. But if somebody signs up, you have to be realistic. That's how businesses are built. It's not like, you put something out there and you get sold out. That doesn't happen in the beginning, definitely not. But trust me, for a long time, it doesn't even happen every time to most businesses, unless they have massive audiences and they really have a validated offer. So they really know what they're doing. They've already figured it out. All they have to do is, extend the offer. Then they use Facebook ads, right? They find colder audience to bring into their funnels, nurture them, and then they have the same plan that they're going through. And all serious coaches who are making multiple $1 million in their businesses. They know that, and I know that because I worked with them. I worked as an affiliate partner with Selena Sue, who had seven-figure launch. We all did, when I was on board as a partner. And then I worked with another coach, for example, Sammy Wonder, who is a relationships coach, right? She's also a multiple million a business that she's running. And we worked on her launch, and it was exactly the same thing. It was really all planned. All the emails were prepared. All stages were done way before she even started a launch. And I remember she had this launch that she was hoping to make like $1 million from that launch. And the first masterclass she did, only one person signed up for her program, but she still had 3 weeks of a launch. She still had, or 2 weeks of a launch period, right? And she filled that launch in 2 weeks. And that's with a huge audience, right? She did hit her target, but the first thing she did, the masterclass she did, only one person signed up. It's normal. It happens in every stage, right? So our idea is to be realistic, and every sign up, every result is a good result, because sometimes you can sell out your offer, but you are actually not 100% sure, for example, in how well that offer works, or who exactly this offer really helps. So your marketing is a bit wishy-washy because you're trying to attract people for just getting clients, right? And I know that firsthand. This is what happened to me. So you're attracting people who are a little bit, in terms of your client targeting, are a little bit all over the place. Not that they are all over the place. It's in your, they're not like one type of people. So there's kind of deviation, and obviously they come with different levels and different needs and different, abilities. And when that happens, you might have filled the launch and you might have made the money, but if it's something that you don't know if it's going to get results, and you can see that because they're not very well-suited people, not everyone is getting results, or majority of people are not getting any results, that could be very discouraging to sell again. That happened to me before with some programs I was trying to sell. I'd fill the program, I'd make the money that I wanted to make, but I never... after the program, I never went into this, okay, let's try it again, because I wasn't sure, because, I kind of attracted people who were, not that they were wrong, they still got a lot of benefits, and over time, massive success stories over time. I was like opening the door for them, but it was not enough for me, because I didn't see like what is the breakthrough that they got at the end of the program, right? So I wasn't clear on my program. That's why offer clarity is so important. But let's go back to the kind of launch when we're thinking about the launch. So this is a kind of launch where you would have, for example, a masterclass. So you would have 3 distinct stages where you first create awareness. So you're nurturing with interesting content, mind-shifting belief shifting content, like a bit of personal posts. So you're kind of building relationships, and then you have a 2 weeks period where you're promoting your free event. You're bringing people into your free event. Now, I'm not going to talk about how to structure this free event, because, in the launch, you have 3 stages. But if, for example, if you have a 3-day challenge, you kind of need to approach the challenge a little separately, for all the emails, all the live streams you're going to do, everything that you're going to do with the challenge, and then bring it in. So now I'm looking for an overview of how the launches work, right? So you have this period where you're promoting your free event, then you're running your free event, and after that, for about a week, you're promoting the paid program, and you're, nudging. And that's what happens. So let me just go through some of the stages just for you to have an overview. So about 2 months or 6 weeks or 4 weeks, if you do things a little bit more often, you start this awareness stage. So in between, you can still post interesting content, and you can even still have like a call to action. If this is all that you do all year, you don't have other programs that you can switch into promoting, then you can have a call to action. If this is of interest, reach out to me. And we will talk. And when you're talking, you say, okay, listen, my next class is in 4 months, but if you get on the waiting list now, or they can get a deposit, or maybe they can work with you privately, right? So there's loads of variations. Don't close the doors on the opportunities, and you can, make a lot of money, especially privately. They will pay you much more money, so it will be worth it all you do is meet them on calls, right? And you can have email support, so the videos that they're watching, for example, in WildFit, that's, Eric is doing those videos. The video is already pre-recorded. I'm just saying that there's always keep an eye, like, is there a way that this person who is so interested now, maybe they want to go private, right? If no, there is a waiting list. You can pay a small deposit and the course starts in 3 months. I had people signing up to me and only starting in 3 months. No problem, right? So awareness stage. Here's other things that you can do. You can, for example, create your interview series, which is so brilliant because you bring people who kind of help nurture your topic without you being an expert on that, right? Anything, you have to always think, in my program, I take a person from point A to point B. What do they need to know, have tried, do already, or not do on this point A? When you get clear on what do they need to already know, already understand, already do, and then you start inviting experts, that can educate your audience to bring them to this plan A for your launch, right? So for your launch, then you're talking to this person who is in the point A, and your program is bringing them to point B, but you're bringing right now, while you're doing the awareness, it's a little bit of an entertainment factor, and it also positions you alongside interesting people, right? So you don't have to be charismatic or think of you as charismatic. You can be very serious and create more serious kind of little conversations. So let the guest lead with their charisma, right? Don't be afraid that somebody in your audience will follow the guest. As long as they're not your direct competitors, you are actually still adding value. And then don't forget that people follow you on Facebook. Your guests change all the time. There might be some amazing guests, that maybe some of your guests will go and also follow them, but they will continue following you. And you are the one who is constant in all these interviews and all these podcasts. So it's a really, really good way of nurturing your audience. In fact, even Selena for the launches, and I've been working with her throughout 3 years. I didn't do the second year, didn't do the launch because I was sick. And but anyway, I was watching what she was doing, and she doesn't really do the interviews. It's not like she has a podcast or something like that. But before the launch, in the awareness stage, there is loads of interviews, right? It's all interviews with your past clients, with your industry experts, just to help them understand that your topic is a really, really important topic. And that's a really, really good way of positioning yourself, right? Another thing you can do is write posts about your client stories. And I don't mean posting huge texts of the clients talking about it themselves. Those are pretty boring, actually, to read. So be a little bit more creative. Usually when we work with clients, unless they're really good at copy, the big, long testimonials, and I find that regular, ordinary people who are not coaches, they usually give you a big, big letter. But that's really boring to read on social media. So it doesn't give you an advantage, that there's such a big testimonial, but there's literally what they're saying could be said in 1 sentence or 2 sentences, right? But it's for you to tell the story. And it's about storytelling generally as a copywriting skill, to learn to tell a story, how your client, what they were struggling with, not in a dry sense, not like a report, but tell a story. Talk about, how they felt. Embellish a little bit if you have to, and then talk about the results. And you can put a picture of that client if they're okay with it, or, or yourself. I find that putting a picture of yourself, if it's a little picture somewhere, and then a screenshot of maybe the comment that they made, or a short testimonial that they made, then it works. If it's a picture of you full screen, and then you have a client testimonial, that undermines the client a little bit, that's just my personal impression when I see those posts. So tell client stories in your lives. You can go live and tell a client story based on the testimonial that you got. Make it more interesting, because the people in your audience who are only getting nurtured to probably working with you later, you need to give them a little bit more juicy content, and that's a little bit less boring to read, or tell stories. People love stories, right? People listen to stories. So there you go. Client stories is another a theme that you can use in the awareness stage. Generally, again, as I said, general awareness building, but in this stage you're going to be much more strategic. So what if you are in between launches, you don't have to post too much of your industry sort of related content, to be honest. Once or twice a week is enough, and you can also focus on publicity. You can write articles and submit to external publications, and then or be a guest on somebody else's podcast in those between launches times. So then you can use that content already. Here you can say, hey, this is an article I wrote, hey, this is the podcast episode I was on. So you're building your positioning as an authority, and you're adding these credibility markers, which are all your publicity appearances and features and your own writing. You're adding this all on top of the social media posts that you're writing directly for the platform that you're using. Of course, personal brand posts like your pets and your, you don't have to give the dirty details of your life. So showing up as a personal brand is not being not private. I'm a very private person, right? But I strategically choose what would be good for the engagement. Remember, people only engage with things that are very easy to engage, like food and hobbies and pets and things like that. That's where you will see a lot of engagement. So use that to boost your engagement. So next time you can serve them a more serious post, and they won't engage on it. It's okay, but a lot of people will be able to see it. And that's what's more important. Because for Facebook, if you have a long post and Facebook only shows a few lines and they were good 3 lines, they were enticing, they click on see more or read more. And for Facebook, that's an engagement. Or they watch your video, even if they didn't comment and didn't like, or, it's not about what they do. It's about whether they see it and watch it or read it or not. So the posting for this prior launch, the awareness stage, is minimum 3 times a week, 4 times a week. You don't have to go crazy posting every day about your business, but it is not a bad idea to have a habit of posting almost every day or every day of something, so that's why automation like Social Bee I always recommend, because it gives an impression that you're posting something. It doesn't matter whether people engage with it or not. In fact, it doesn't matter whether people engage or not, because trust me, those people who invest are less likely to engage before they invest with you. So always keep that in mind. It's not an indication how well you're doing, right? Or how well your post is performing. You just have to do your thing. Yeah, it's like building a house, and you put a brick after brick after brick, and if you put 10 bricks, you don't stop and say, oh my God, I don't know, like, can somebody live in this? Why are you not happy? I already put like 10 bricks, here, and you're complaining there's drafts, or you're not like telling me how well this house looks. I know I'm exaggerating massively, but it's kind of like this when you say, oh, nobody engaged on my post, what's wrong with it? Nothing's wrong with it. Keep doing your thing. It's not about this one post, even if it was brilliant. It's about, over time, visibility. That's why the word visibility is the key here, yeah? And then, of course, tweaking and mastering your skill of storytelling, of showing up, of your identity, public identity. And then if you're using email marketing, which really you should try and use email marketing, but if you have a very small audience, it might not make sense. But then, it's always, think about, I just mentioned the word identity. It's how people perceive you. So if people perceive you as a coach, you want to build that slightly shiny cover, that you're an industry expert, that is respectable expert, that you're not just someone they know. It's so important. And for some, let's bring human design into this, for some people, for example, people with line 1, people with line 5, it's really important, especially with people with line 5, because I notice like people with line 1 are okay. They're still showing up, and they put themselves out there. But people with line 5 in their profile, especially 5-1, 5-2, they don't really show up themselves on front. There's not enough selfies. There's, they're kind of hiding behind, something else, which is usually not really that visually appealing. but really what they have to do, because they have the energetics of a leader, is to show up, to create this position like, I am a leader, I am an expert. But every line would still benefit with that, because people, money flows to status and celebrity. I keep repeating this as a mantra. It's literally that I will invest with someone who looks like they are an industry expert, and I will not invest the same amount of money with someone who looks like my neighbor. It's just a perception thing. So with email marketing, you are adding to this perception thing. Even if you have 10 people on your list, when you're working on your launch, you can prepare everything in advance, all text. And this is what's very important. It's to sit down and write it once. All you have to do is write it out once. You can, if you wish, you can tweak some things later on, but you'll have the body of posts, of texts, of emails, everything prepared already. All you have to do is schedule them to send at certain days. It doesn't matter how many people on your list at that point. This is about having yourself a prepared launch process. And it's really, really good, especially if you have something that opens a couple of times a year, or once a year, or maybe 4 times a year. Like this whole thing with email marketing, it will pay off. You already have it all. Next time, it doesn't matter, maybe your first launch flops. I'm not saying it's going to. I'm not saying. My launches, sometimes first launches were the best, right? And then they flopped because I tried them too fast. But your launch will be prepared for you. So next time you're running the launch for this particular offer, you will have everything. Everything is done. You'll just go in, you look over, and you'll be like, yeah, that's good. Maybe I'll just rewrite this little bit, but that's good. Change the date. It's done. No emotionally involved and worrying and feeling overwhelmed. It's all done, right? You can have a large Google Doc with everything in it. You can spend a week preparing your launch, and that's all you do that week. And then for the next year, you have that covered. That's what's good about this approach, right? It's really good about this approach. I think I was at my most organized when I did the launch with Selena Sue. That was the first time when I saw this in action, this being prepared in action. And it was so, so good. There was absolutely no emotionally feeling overwhelmed, feeling, too involved. It was literally like, okay, what do I need to do this week? There's the 2 emails. Okay, I don't have to write them. I still rewrote them because I like, they were giving me copy. I wanted my emails to sound like but I was so, I was bouncing off that. And so if I was writing for myself, I could just create this outline. You don't have to write content. First you write the outline, and then you start writing content, like 1 post at a time, 2 posts at a time. If you're on the roll, make 2 posts, and you can use the same stuff, what you're posting on social, and in your email just slightly change the wording, and that's it. It doesn't have to be. You can even bring people from your email into your, say, Facebook profile, so they can read the full post there, and then you can connect to them through that. So you can always, think how you can improve with the help of email marketing, how you can improve what you're doing on Facebook, right? How can you make it more efficient? Because people who follow you on Facebook, they see you in the newsfeed, but there's other things we're competing. I always talk about this. Other things we're competing with in the newsfeed, right? We're very distracted. There's other posts, there's puppies, there's like everything, notifications. So you get distracted. Email subscribers are those people who say, please send me your content directly. I actually really like what you're doing. Or they sign up into they might not always say that, but they are signing up into our, freebies, and they have a chance to unsubscribe. But we just assume that they say, okay, I want your freebie, and I'm allowing you to send me directly emails. So especially if they got a freebie, and it's not like they came in and said, okay, I want to follow you, please send me your updates on directly, then it's a good idea to bring them into where they can actually interact with you. So your Facebook group, your Facebook profile, your Instagram account, if that's it, and give them these tasks, like something they have to do to engage with you. That's how you know the ones that are actually paying attention, right? Not everyone does, but sometimes they do, right? So which is good. Some of them will do. Anyway, so if you're using email marketing during this time, once a week or twice a week, depending on your normal kind of way, how you touch base, it's really good, right? Just regular, again, bring them to those interviews, tell them about the client stories. It doesn't have to be really daily emails or even every 2 days. Once or twice a week is really enough for that stage. So 8 to 4 weeks. It depends. If you have a very big launch, something you do once a year, then start 8 weeks in advance. If it's something that you do every 3 months, maybe the 4 weeks is kind of enough. Now, 4 to 2 weeks, and then you will combine the first and the second if it's just 4 weeks. 4 to 2 weeks. Let me open this. We have I'm going to still leave this one on the top here so you can process. 4 to 2 weeks, we have a stage where promoting this event. I'm going to call it event, right? So this is an event promotion stage. As I said, you have to plan your event separately to this. You will, and it's really good if you, for example, I mentioned you can have a Google Doc, right, for this. Have a separate Google Doc for planning your event, which will be emails and posts even posts. Emails and posts you are creating specifically to invite people to the event. Then any kind of emails that you need to send to get people, oriented in the event, whether, is it going to be a challenge in your group and you need to set up the 3 or 5 or whatever days you have, what you're going to have. So you plan it separately. It's a separate conversation to this. But this is the time when you are also in your launch, you're driving traffic to this event, right? And here's one thing. Anyone who signs up for the event, that doesn't mean the rest are not watching, even though they didn't sign up to your event. So again, don't assume that if I didn't sign up to your masterclass, I'm not reading your emails. Maybe I didn't sign up to your masterclass because I just don't like going on masterclasses. Yeah, it's not the way I like consuming, but I like your posts and I am also getting nurtured. So you're splitting your traffic into kind of 2 groups, but do not undermine the group that did not engage in the event. They're still there, so you're posting still about that, right? So you can start posting daily. At this period, the 2 weeks that you're promoting and driving people to your event, at least 4 posts a week about the promotion, because you only have 2 weeks. So that's only 8 posts that could be great posts with just call to action. This is my free masterclass. That's all I mean by talking directly about this. So email, again, you can ramp it up now to three times per week. That's only 2 weeks that you're doing this, and you're leading people to the event. So again, the first week it could be more of the value based posts with the call to action masterclass. The second week it will be all about just call to action. I come to the masterclass, my free masterclass is on Wednesday, come to the masterclass, only 12 hours or 24 hours left to sign up for my masterclass, right? That's enough for the masterclass, just 24-hour notification. A lot of people, there's 3 groups of people. There's people who sign up impulsively. There's people who sign up based on their research. So they're the ones that will go and look at the testimonials and the facts and things like that. And then there's people who are sitting on the fence. So you always need to nudge people the last minute. And I know I had a conversation with more than one of my clients saying, I hate doing things last minute. I also hate doing things last minute. It's very overwhelming. That's why you prepare everything in advance so you can nudge them, schedule an email to go and the post to go, the last minute to say, are you in and out? Get off that fence. But in other words, but you don't have to be feeling like you are doing it on the last minute, and feeling overwhelmed. It's all done. It's all like you just keep posting, and that's it. What else? Yeah, so twice on the day of the event, twice on the date of the event. Why do I have that? Oh yes, twice on the day and twice on the date of the event. I'm just thinking. Now, if you have a very big launch, here's what I'm gonna say. If you have a very big launch, that you have a big offer, maybe a big coaching program that you only do once a year, then it's really worth it that you push people into that free event. So send them an email, maybe 48 hours, then 24 hours, and then on the day you'll send another email, maybe 12 hours, and then the last one, 6 hours, like just a couple of hours left to sign up. Are you in? Short emails, right? And that kind of pushes them to sign up to this masterclass. The masterclass has to really hit the pain point. It's more important in this masterclass to focus it around a real serious pain point. If it's more important than your program when you're promoting the actual program, because through that one pain point, you're going to attract a lot of people who are in that, in that stage where they need some support. And the masterclass is not going to give them everything they need. They will need support. So that's where, at the end of the masterclass, that's when your cart opens. And at the end of the challenge, the last day of the challenge, that's where your cart opens. That's where you sell your bigger program. You tell them about it, basically. When I say sell, you tell them about it. Right? You start, and from that moment, you start inviting them to sign up. You do the early bird. You can, do some early bird bonuses if you want, so, but you don't have to do this. That's why I'm not talking about the bonuses and things like that, because you don't have to do this, but that's when you have to start talking about the actual bigger program that you are launching. At the end of your masterclass, at the end of your 3-day challenge, you can, at the end of your live training, while you're on the training, you have to mention that. That's where, and you give them like an extra bonus for taking action if they sign up for 24 hours as you are doing this live training. For example, you'll give them 15 minutes extra coaching call or something like that. You can always give them a little bit of your time, and it could be a really good bonus. I actually bought a program, a 2K program, just because the woman I was following said, and you're gonna get 15 minutes direct call with me. And I was like, hallelujah, I just want to meet you. I don't want to ask you anything. 15 minutes is not enough when you're strategizing. I want to meet you. I want to have this privilege of just talking to you. That's how brain works. It's weird, isn't it? So we can use that, okay? We always use how our poor brains work. They're silly. Our brains are so silly. Okay, so this is now, we have the launch. The launch is about a week where you've just run your masterclass. So it was kind of you were already launching, right? You were already ramping up. And now you're in the launch. You told them about the program. You have the program has started. You can separate your email list if you want, right? You can separate your email list into those who enrolled. Actually, I need to say enrolled. In those who have enrolled into your free event, or those who didn't, and even though you might send them very similar, or even some of the emails will be absolutely the same, but it's just if you have tagged those who signed up, then you send them a replay, that kind of direct email, direct event related emails. Sorry, there's something outside that is distracting me. And those who didn't sign up, you can still send them promotion. You can start just saying like, today my program, this has opened. The masterclass was such a success. Offer them to look into a replay even if they didn't register. You can do that. Nobody says you can't do that, right? And so then what I want to make sure that you understand is about how to promote. So you have a week. For example, you run a masterclass on Wednesday and your last deadline for them to sign up is next Wednesday. So you have a week. You start sending them daily emails. And in these emails, first email would be, the doors are open. Here's what you can get if you get in now. Maybe action taker bonus. Don't have to do this, but you can, right? The next day it could be, here's the frequently asked questions. Here's what's inside the program again. Just put a bullet points of what are the modules in the program. So they're really, really clear. Don't send them all the time. You add the links to your sales page, but also bring it into the email, like chew it for them. So all they have to is to swallow, right? Make it easy and no-brainer for them. So use the emails that you are using, like there's first 3 emails, daily emails. That's where you tell them again, very detailed what the program is. Don't just send them to the sales page. Send them to the sales page after that. Yeah, but also make sure that you have a button, if it's a sales page, somewhere on top as well where they can just enroll straight away because you've already sold it in your emails. I hate reading sales pages, to be honest, because my brain just gets too distracted there. I like if I just want a button. I want to know the price. I want to, if you are promoting discovery calls because you want to meet everyone, maybe it's a private program, then that's the time when you are talking about like what's going to happen on that discovery call. So again, spill it all out, explain it all in a very friendly language. A lot of people try to be too professional, just like book a call and they're like sending people away. But this is an intimate way of communicating. It's a virtual letter to each other. So try to be as intimate as you can. Like, don't send them away when you can tell them something in this email. They don't have to be very long emails, but the essence. 72 hours, client stories, you can send 2 emails. 48 hours then, list now the benefits and the bonuses, or offer an extra call if they want to, because some people, if they haven't enrolled yet, and here's what I recommend: that you create a list that it's all your subscribers, right, or people who are tagged that you're targeting, but excluded those who sign up. So when people sign up with you, you tag them in your email software that they are in the program, and they stop getting the launch emails. That's a really good way, so they've enrolled, they can have their own automation, onboarding and things like that. And I know that for some of you, I'm overcomplicating things. You might not be at that stage, but it's good to have the understanding how it works, because, we can't be oversimplifying things just for your convenience. We can't do that, because this is how things work. And so our idea is just to expand your mind and to understand that this is what it can take, and then try and tweak it, create your version, try it, and then maybe add on as you go. It only feels overwhelming right now if you have never done it. And if you only spend time preparing it and you run it after you've prepared it, you wouldn't believe how easy it feels, how good it feels when you have all this done. It's just really, really good. So the most important here is that you're 24 hours before the deadline, the cart closes, or the deadline to sign up, you need to send 3 emails. 24 hours, only 24 hours left. 12 hours, only 12 hours left. And then about 6 or 4 hours saying, last couple of hours left, are you in and out or out? Let me know now. This is like last chance. You have to nudge people, because there's a group of people psychologically who only buy when they're nudged. So it's not about you being salesy at all. It's about you understanding customer buying behavior or consumer buying behavior, that there are people with different groups of how they think. It's like an LP. We have different way we consume information. So you need to use your client success stories for emotional people and for those people who want proof, right? You talk about the benefits and the bonuses about, again, for people who want like more research into this, like, is this really what they need? And then you want the nudging, and the nudging is for those people who are sitting on the fence. Trust me, the last day you can make more sales than the whole of the launch, and that's normal. Even you can get people after you said, that's it, the launch is now over, the doors are closed. And I would say to you, send that kind of email the next day. The doors are now closed, and if you want, grab on, if you missed it out, like, get onto the waiting list. You'll have people, occasionally you get people reaching out saying, I missed this, but I really want it now. Can I still get in? Of course they can. Most of the time, of course they can. So that's something that is really, really important to understand. So when you have this outlined for yourself, this is all just an outline for yourself. Then while you're doing that, let me just close this one. You set up key dates. You take a calendar like this, and you set the key dates, so you know the timeline, right? And you can add the key dates to your brainstorming, right? To all this. And only then you start creating a content plan for each stage. When you kind of sat down, decided what you're going to do, then you can create content for each stage. You can have a separate document where you're creating content, and you can just have a header, for example, 4 weeks prior, 3 weeks prior, and just approach it, 1 or 2 posts a day. It's going to take you a week or so to complete it, but then you have it for very long time. It's written out, it's done. And there's no right or wrong, just be yourself. It really isn't about you following some sort of blueprint of how the emails should sound, or because it's not about what you say. It's about how you've built relationships with people. It's about how they want more of what you're offering. That's why these like interviews, it's all about like the opportunity of watching you and observing you in action and getting into your vibe. So this is so good when you go live and you talk about client stories, or if you can bring that client and just have a little kind of like a casual interview. You don't have to do it live stream. You can record it on Zoom and then post it, and then you bring it to your audience. So bring your audience, send them an email saying, hey, do you want to see this client story? Like, he achieved so much. This is what, watch us discussing this 15 minutes, something like that. This is something that a lot of very big influencers with, huge launches, I always see them doing interviews before, because they're building relationships and they're kind of getting more and more into the lives of their audiences, and they're bringing these not to passively consume them, but actually to go somewhere with intention, binge on their content. That is a really, really important thing, that you let them binge on your content in that time. Right? And that's how you approach a launch. So if you have a framework, if you understand the timeline, then you can prepare way in advance. You can have it as your template. You run it no matter what the results are. In a few months, run it again. In a few months, run it again. You do not even have to tweak it every time, because you want to see whether maybe you can double your results. As I said, maybe you got half of, or maybe you got 3 people when you wanted 10, but next time you will get 6 people because you're following the same plan. And it's okay that you're kind of posting about, if you're doing things 6 months later, nobody will remember that you are verbatim posting the same post. You can change the picture, you can do small tweaks when you're changing this, but it's not even that important that you do things. You really do write everything out in advance, because you're going to be already emotionally involved into your launch, and all your limited beliefs will kick in. So you're much better when you're prepared. When that happens, then you're not going to abandon this launch midway. That's what happens to a lot of people. So I hope that this overview was good. I am very open to all your questions. Just pop them below. And now what I'm hoping that you understand is how the launch, when you have an event, how you can plan out the launch, and how frequently, or how, the touch points, all the touch points that you need are here. As I said, you can tweak it to your own way. It's okay. It's okay if you maybe only start sending daily emails 48 hours, 24, but I think that what I said to you, I think I argued why. Why do you need to send a daily email the week when you're enrolling? And why you need to write it all in advance, so your mind and your insecurities don't interfere with this whole thing, saying, oh, you're so salesy. Just write it down. Like, this is how people launch. This is how in businesses we as coaches launch, right? That's like a classic launch. So let's just do it. Let's just do it. Now, this again, let me just, before I finish, this applies to something that you run maybe minimum 3 months, every 3 months. I would say even 6 months or a year. When you have in between, you can sell something else. You can have your signature program, but if you try and sell it every 3 months, even that signature program, it could be difficult to fill every one of your programs. It's too close. This is what I've experienced in my life, right? So it's good to have 2 variations, or think about, at the end of the program, can you offer them some sort of support that is after, on the tail of this program? Maybe it's a low-cost membership, or medium cost, or even high-cost membership, if this is something that they want, and they or is there any way that you can continue working with these people in some capacity? Maybe some of them want some private work after the group session, right? What is the way that you can continue that will keep you, bringing you revenue, if this is the only thing you're doing until the next time you're doing it? Or how can you build your audience? And this is why these kind of launches, they work, especially the big influencers do them, because they do something once or twice a year, but they're constantly building their lists, building their audience. So they have a lot of new people coming in throughout the year to their audience, and then they make enough money to last them. Or they have, like, eventually you'll have loads of little small programs that you can still promote. It's all about ongoing promotion, right? But you have to understand how the process of each time when you are posting something. So this would be for a bigger program. If you have like a smaller program, maybe a paid masterclass, you can do a mini version of that. So you don't need to then, have the awareness stage, or you can just think about, okay, well, I'm just going to use this second stage. So this one here. Yeah, I'm going to use this one here, this approach. I'm going to post daily. I am going to, I'll have say, for example, it's a masterclass. I'll lead everybody to the sale of this masterclass, and I'll email them 3 times a week. And the very last day before the masterclass, I'm going to use this approach, and I'm just gonna, nudge, sale. And then you just send emails to the people who enrolled. If it's a paid masterclass, if it's a paid course. So this is not a launch for, say, an ongoing product. It's not a launch for an online course that is an ongoing, unless you're doing like twice a year doors open, right? You have to decide yourself. As I said, this really does depend on how many people you have. But even if you are a WildFit coach and you have these classes, following a structure would really, really help you. Really will. Okay, that's me today. Thank you so much. And I am open to all the questions, and just pop them in the comments.